Hi, my name's Katie. I'm coming to you with a studio update. This is my studio. It's my dining room, but I have a desk here. I sew on the dining room table, and then I do have a separate room which has fabric storage, but that is where I do my day job. So my studio is everywhere, but I do have updates. The first is that one of my best friends asked me to teach her how to sew. So that's very exciting. She came over for a few hours recently and we got to work. We were originally trying to find like a really simple shift dress pattern on Etsy, good for beginners. We found a few that we liked, but I remembered I accidentally have a cache of vintage patterns that I have just kind of acquired over the years and didn't have a plan for them. I just liked them. So this is McCall's 3512. It's from 1973, and the one that we're making is this very last one here, kind of like a baby doll shift dress, and it's got some, it has a yoke and some gathering and some pockets. We are foregoing the pockets, but the yoke is there, which in the gathering, which is a fun thing to try to do as a beginner. Otherwise, it's straight lines. It's just meant to be like a comfortable throw it on shift type of dress. And it's going really well. Oh, I just dropped it. It's going really well. We're using muslin so that in neon thread so that she can see the like stitch lines and really understand like how a garment is constructed and how it all looks together once it's finished. And then now that she's done that, I mean, we haven't finished. Once she finishes, she will have already made one. So if she wants to do it in a fabric she loves, and like source something specific for it, she knows how to make it. She can do it on her own, less chance of mistakes happening, hopefully. And I'm just having the best time because who doesn't want to teach their bestie how to make something? I don't know. So that is great. If she doesn't mind, I'll update y'all once it's finished. She doesn't know this yet, I bought her this book called, it's the Reader's Digest Complete Guide to Sewing. It has everything. I'm not going to turn into Stefan here, but it really does have everything, including a couple of projects I know she'd be interested in. So I went through and I tabbed them with sticky notes for her, and then I'm going to write a note and then give this to her. I kind of want to make a new cover for this. This is just a hard cover, but maybe make like get something printed that is like a dust jacket that's a little bit cuter. Whoever designed this, I think it's a great book cover for just a general sewing book. No problems here, but I like to make anything and everything, so I might do that. Don't want to keep it out of her hands for too long though. Definitely still want to give it to her. And then, so that's one friend. Another friend got married in October last year, and I've been working on this wedding quilt for her. That is the gift that I'm giving her and her husband. Quilt making is a really long process for me. So this is update number 2. I have finally gotten all of the fabric for that quilt. Very excited. I only purchased secondhand materials. So in my quilt making process, the gathering of just the right fabrics, it kind of takes the most time. Once I have my fabric and I know I have enough, then I improvise a pattern. Not always like on the spot improv, but like I'm not following a pattern that's pre-made. I come up with my own and just kind of sketch it out and hope for the best. And then I start cutting, I start making, and then for my really big quilts, I go to a long armor because I just love the work that long armors do, and I'm so grateful for it. And it saves me from having to stitch a giant quilt on my domestic machine. So all the fabric is together for that, and I can't wait to finally get moving. This is like my favorite part. That same friend is going on a honeymoon soon, and she happens to be traveling to the 2 places I have already been before. So I very excitingly made a traveler's notebook cover for her. I have made a few others before. This is the first one I've made in this burgundy leather that I found. And I used an orange cord. There's a cute little silver charm right there. And I'll show you what the inside looks like. So there are 2 Field Notes notebooks in here, a Chicago notebook brand that I love. One is burgundy to match the cover. And one is lined and one is grid paper. When I traveled to Europe for the first time, I did have a Field Notes sized notebook with me. I bought it at the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. And for the rest of my travels, I just would like be sitting in a cafe and I draw a little doodle about what drink and what pastry I got. Or I would find like a really interesting tile pattern on one of the buildings and I'd sketch it really quickly in my notebook because tile patterns remind me of quilt blocks. I have written about that before. I'll link that below. At the time, I didn't know I was doing like traveler's journaling, but I know that's a thing now, and that's why covers are so great to have to protect the notebook while you are taking it with you. So I'm excited to give that to her. She doesn't know about it. She'll find out when she watches this because it's still on the way to her. But that is that front. So wedding quilt and a traveler's notebook. 2 gifts that I love to give, and she's my other bestie. Like the 2 of them. This is just an update about my best friends. Okay. The next update is I do write a newsletter on Substack. It's about the creative process for me and like the questions that kind of come up for me while I'm making things. And part of the process is to help me explore those questions for myself, but some other folks seem to resonate with it. I just hit 2 years of writing this newsletter, and as of this morning, I have 810 subscribers, which is massive for me. Thank you. And if you don't want to subscribe to a newsletter, you can just follow a person. I have 960 followers. So these may not seem like huge numbers for most folks, but it's a significant jump for me. I just had around 140 at the end of January. So over the month of February, it jumped up quite a bit. And it's just nice to have people resonate with your work and your thoughts and your questions and to want to explore those things with you. So if you are one of those subscribers, thank you. And thank you for being here. In 2023, I started this. Within the first 6 months, I got 50 subscribers and I bought myself a cake and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. This is the most subscribers I'm ever going to have. If 50 people read my newsletter, that's the best thing I could ask for. Like that is a solid number for me. So to have 810 now feels really cool. I don't have like big, beautiful words for it. It is cool. It is nice. I'm still kind of processing. It was kind of a big jump, but still feels manageable now. And I've gotten to meet some really talented writers and interesting artists and quilt makers who have migrated over to Substack since like leaving TikTok or Instagram. So I have a couple of recommendations for other Substacks on my page, so you can go find those. And I think that's that with Substack. My username, you can find me at styletongue.substack.com. Styletongue is also the username for my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and styletongue.com is my website name. So you can find me in many places. My last update in the studio today, you may have noticed this duck that kind of looks like a mummy. Let me show you. I thrifted this wooden duck in Medford, Massachusetts when I lived there like 2 or 3 years ago. And he's very poorly painted. It didn't seem accurate to any duck species that I was familiar with. I tried looking it up further and it just isn't a real duck. So instead of repainting him, He also was missing eyes. Instead of repainting him, I've decided to cover him in fabric. Right now, you can see that he is covered in quilt batting. This is polyester quilt batting that I got secondhand. He's wrapped up in it. The batting sticks to itself, so it's actually like staying here pretty nicely, but I'm going through over each seam that crosses over another layer, and I'm stitching it down just so that it's more secure. And then once this is all stitched down, I'm going to be using scraps from my scrap bin to sew on top of this batting, do some needle turn applique, and just each patch one at a time, stitching the edges under and eventually covering the entire duck. I'm thinking of calling it patchwork taxidermy, but I feel like I'm not quite settled on that. If you have an idea for what to call that, and maybe it'll be more clear once it's finished, and I will share once it's finished. But this is just one of those like random wacky projects that I'm working on, and I'm really curious to see how this turns out. I think it's gonna be good. And he's like a little bulked up now with this batting on him. So that's my duck. These are all of my updates. These are the things that I'm working on right now. By the time it is time for my next studio update, hopefully I have some actual fabric or finished projects to show you. For now, everything is a work in progress. I've been taking it slow this season and getting used to these new platforms that I'm exploring a bit more on, like here, YouTube, and getting back to my writing on Substack. So let me know if you have any questions. Please leave a comment if you have a name idea for the duck or a project name idea. Let me know if you have any works in progress that are exciting in the comments. I want to hear what you're working on. And that's all. Thanks so much.